who doesn't want to help children? Then we have a responsibility to protect them. These risks are here and now for them, and they are on the horizon for all of us. So let's tackle all of them. Let's just all try and do something, and maybe we can make a difference. The optimism for me is seeing that there are mechanisms that we could put in place to protect children from the risks they're facing now, and there should be mechanisms that we can realistically put in place to slow down the frontier systems while we are so obviously not ready for them.
Welcome to For Humanity, an AI Risk Podcast, episode number 58, Protecting Our Kids from AI Risks. I'm John Sherman, your host. Thank you so much for joining me. Got a really great show for you today, jam-packed with near-term future potential to end all life on Earth, that they don't know how to control this technology, that they don't understand how it works, and that they spend all their time and money making it stronger, not safer. For Humanity is the AI Risk Podcast for the general public, no tech background required. So we have a fantastic interview this week with Tara Steele, an AI risk activist, advocate for children, mom, and former British intelligence officer. She is amazing. But before we get to that interview, I want to get to a bunch of things. So first off, I had a Zoom call with Ed Harris of Gladstone AI last week. Edward and his brother Jeremy, who run a company called Gladstone AI. They were the guests on episodes 34 and 35 of this show. Worth watching if you haven't, go back and watch those. So they've been working with the U.S. government on AI risk more than any company that I know of at greater depth. Our call was about how, given the change of administration now in Washington, we can get any sort of meaningful AI risk regulation passed. I will have the Harris brothers back on the show soon to talk about this, but here is the top line that I want you to know right now. So to have a chance in DC today, AI risk regulation must be presented as national security risk, which it is. The big AI labs are in no way secure from a nation-state level attack. The data centers we build are made with Chinese components. We have no way of checking if there are backdoors in the hardware or software built in. Here's what I like. We need to slow down. This is a way to slow down, and pretty fast. A law requiring all new data centers to have 100% American-sourced components for critical national security reasons could slow down the data center gold rush big time. So here's Ed's second point, and a lot of people are not going to like this, and rightly so, but it is what it is, okay? Now, with the Trump administration in and controlling both houses, international cooperation with China is out the window. It's a non-starter. You cannot convince GOP congresspeople and senators to trust China to uphold any treaty. Full stop. And if you go into their office asking for that, you will lose credibility on the rest of what you are saying. This is brutal. International coordination is a required piece of saving ourselves, but it rings true. This is the moment we're in. More on this in the coming weeks. So, all right, let's move on. Let's travel now to Davos, where the rich and powerful rub elbows and talk about the stuff that affects us all. There at the World Economic Forum, we got a heavyweight sparring session between Stanford professor Andrew Ng and he is a long-time Everything's Gonna Be Fine Suicide Club member, maybe past president, and Yoshua Bengio, Turing Award winner AI godfather, on a mission to stop the thing he made.
I'm going to share, I feel like there are actually two philosophies on AI being represented here, and maybe I just call what they are. I tend to view AI as a tool, and I think it's wonderful to get to AGI because then all of you would better have an army of interns. They're very smart to do whatever you want them to do. So I think it'd be wildly exciting to empower every single human to have all these agents or AI things working for them. By the way, intelligence is one of the most expensive things in today's world. That's why it costs a lot to get a doctor or hire a tutor. But if we can make intelligence cheap and give it to everyone, I think we will have a wonderful tool to empower a lot of people. And so when people talk about AI being dangerous, I think it sounds a lot like talk about your laptop computer being dangerous. Absolutely, your laptop can be dangerous because someone can use your laptop to do awful things, just like someone could use AI to do awful things. We should pass laws to stop them. So that's how I tend to view AI. There's an alternative view of AI, which is not mine, which I think is if AI is this sentient alien being with its own wants and desires that could go rogue. In my experience, my AI sometimes does bad things. I just program it to stop doing that, and I can't control it perfectly, but every year, our ability to control AI is improving, and I think the safest way to make sure AI doesn't do bad things is, this is how we build airplanes. We build airplanes, sometimes they crash tragically, and then we fix it. And I think AI sometimes give bad outputs, and then we fix it, and that's how we actually make these things reliable.
Jonathan?
I need to respond to this, if you don't mind.
Jonathan, I was going to go first, and then I'll go to you, Joshua.
I didn't even finish what I was saying.
Everybody, moderator rules. Okay, Joshua, you go, and then I'm going to go Jonathan, and then I'm going to go Yejing.
All right. There are several things that Andrew said that I think are wrong. No, seriously, like deadly wrong.
Deadly wrong.
So first of all, we would like AI to be a tool. That is what we want. But there's a mistake I think that AI research has been doing, which is we've taken human intelligence as the model for building artificial intelligence. And the reason it's a mistake is that the thing we really want from machines is not a new species, not a peer that could be smarter than us. What we actually want is something that will help us solve our problems. And the main thing we need from this is in pure intelligence, the ability to understand the world. But what we have as well is agency. In other words, we have our own goals. It's something we're already starting to see. Andrew, are you aware that there are experiments that have been run over the last year that show very strong agency and self-preserving behavior in AI systems?
And
these systems, let me finish,
no,
please. Yeah. These systems are trying, for example, to copy themselves in the file of the next version when they know that there's going to be a next version that replaces them, or they're trying to fake agreeing with the user so that their goals will not be changed through the training process. Were not programmed. These are emerging for rational reasons because these systems are imitating us. We are agents. So indeed, we are on a path where we're going to build machines that are more than tools, that have their own agency and their own goals, and that is not good. And you're saying it's okay, we're going to find ways to control them. But how do you know? Like right now, science doesn't know how we can control machines that are even at our level of intelligence, and even worse if they're smarter than us. Nobody knows. Now, there are people like Andrew who are saying, don't worry, we'll figure it out. I mean, if we don't figure it out, do you understand the consequences?
I'm saying we'll pay attention, and my team's newsletter covered those exact studies. I have seen them. I feel like these systems learn from human data, and sometimes humans on the internet demonstrate deceptive behaviors.
Yes.
I think it's fantastic that some researchers did red teaming and discovered that you can, in certain circumstances, get an AI to demonstrate these misleading and deceptive behaviors, and it does great. So the next step is we'll put a stop to this.
All right, guys.
We'll just stop all this. Yeah, we'll just put a stop to all this somehow. Stop fucking smiling, Andrew. Honestly, Andrew Ng is Jan LeCun level ridiculous. They are the two most well-decorated members of the kill all living things fast society. They are. All right, not to be outdone, brilliant Berkeley professor and AI risk leader Stuart Russell was in Seoul, South Korea at the World Knowledge Forum on a similar panel being asked to talk about AI risk.
Regulation is really tough. As I mentioned, right, it's a battle at the moment between a couple of hundred people who are concerned about AI safety, a couple of hundred people who are concerned about bias, discrimination, and so on, and an industry that is deploying $15 trillion in capital and employs thousands of full-time lobbyists around the world to get their way. And their way for the last 50 years has been, there shall be no regulation of our industry. And they will say this with a straight face, in meetings like this, in meetings with heads of state, that there should be no regulation because, as we all know, regulation stifles innovation. They flew to that meeting on a highly regulated airplane. They are eating highly regulated food at this meeting. They are sitting in a highly regulated building that complies with building codes. They got their hair cut by a highly regulated hairdresser. But for some reason, they think that they should be protected by all these regulations, but no one should be protected from their technology. And this seems to me just a fundamental ethical failure in the way I think computer scientists are trained to think and the way we have allowed the industry to evolve.
Yep. Okay, one more clip. Here is Professor Stuart Russell ending the session, dropping truth bombs.
If this impending, and I won't say how soon it's impending, but this impending transition to a world where we are joined by superhuman entities, if that's the biggest event in human history, then it seems that everyone should be involved in decisions about whether and how this happens. At the moment, the ones making the decisions are the CEOs of the companies. And I think they have a vested interest in this question. A couple of them have said that there's a significant chance, like 10 or 25% chance of human extinction. So they are deciding to play Russian roulette with the entire human race without our permission. I would not let someone come into my house and play Russian roulette with one of my children. Would you? So why are we letting them do this with every single human being who's alive? That's my closing thought.
Okay, thank you.
Let's be very clear. It's literally true. Sam Altman and his peers are holding guns to our children's heads. Right now, each new release spins the chamber and fires around. All right. Let's move on to something now that is truly positive. I'm actually really excited about this. So, my mission with this podcast and YouTube channel is to help regular people understand the threat AI risk poses to our families. That's it. I don't want to win technical debates or convince people on Twitter. I just want to wake up the world, moms, dads, teachers, electricians, people who are not thinking about AI risk at all right now. So YouTube channels like more than a year old hadn't quite figured it out, but I've been making one YouTube short every single day for months, and they're kind of fun. And I'm making them strategically about things that are entirely unrelated to AI risk. Some could be about things that are trending in sports or politics or culture, whatever.
Hey, what's up? I just got back from walking the dogs. Oh, check them out. You can see Pearl and Dolly are doing whatever they're doing. And here's Chewy over here. So this is actually an animal welfare video that you're watching here. All three of these dogs, Dolly, Chewy, and Pearl, are all in grave danger of being slaughtered. I mean this quite literally. So the makers of the big AI models, the frontier models, openly tell us that their technology has the near-term future potential of ending all life on Earth. That means killing these three dogs. That means killing your dogs, your cats, your kids, your parents. We cannot let this happen, right? We cannot let this happen. So you need to learn more about AI risk right now. Check out this podcast. Let me help you understand what is to come. Okay, check it out. I'm about to show you the most unbelievable air fried chicken. John's on leaker. So one bite, everybody knows rules, blah, blah, blah. So the connection between Luigi and the drones, let's get to that in just a second. Before that, I want to talk to you about something that's much more important, and that's AI risk. Don't worry about Markiplier. Worry about AI risk. It's far more important. Yeah. AI risk. Don't worry about Markiplier.
And just this past week, I think I cracked the code on YouTube, and my plan is really starting to work. So get this. On our last show just 2 weeks ago, we had under 10,000 YouTube subscribers. Today, we have more than 15,000. And it's because I have personally taken over the Google AdWords campaigns for many vendors. On the back end, I am creating all sorts of custom audiences with narrow interests, and I'm serving them up the shorts, and it's working. So check this out. So let's take a look right here at this top campaign. It's Dolly Says Help Me video campaign. Okay, check out the first short.
Hi, my name is Dolly, and I need your help. I'm a dog. I'm half golden retriever, half Bernese mountain dog. And I am aware that my life is in grave danger from artificial intelligence. That's right. Did you know the makers of the big AI models, Anthropic, Google DeepMind, Meta, OpenAI, openly tell us their technology has the near-term future potential to end all life on Earth? That means kill me. That means kill my mom, Pearl. Don't let it happen. Please help me. Please help me. Let's not end all life on Earth. I'm just a half Bernese mountain dog, half golden retriever. Don't you want to save me? Don't you want to learn more about AI risk and save my life? Please subscribe to this podcast. Learn more about AI risk right now. Or cute things like this won't be happening anymore. Please save me. Save me. Save me.
Okay, so showing that short only to an audience of pet lovers, right? Who are not looking for AI content on YouTube at all. We spent $50 to get 824 views and 217 new For Humanity subscribers. That's just 23 cents per new subscriber. And these are all, again, just regular people trying to mind their own business on YouTube. Check out this short I made for all the plant lovers out there.
Hey, coming at you today with another plant care tip. Today we're talking about bonsai trees. So I want you to take a look at this amazing bonsai tree right here. I have been caring for this little baby since COVID. She's doing so well. So here is my number one tip for all of the plant enthusiasts out there wanting to keep their bonsai tree in as good shape as possible. Ready? Start learning about AI risk. The greatest threat to your bonsai tree, to your fiddle fig, to your elephant ear, is artificial intelligence risk. The makers of the big AI models tell us openly that their technology has the near-term future potential to end all life on Earth. That means you, me, your pets, your kids, your parents, and also, yes, your plants, your trees, everything. We cannot let this happen. Learn more right now. Subscribe to this podcast.
So last week we spent $40 on this video campaign to plant-loving people, over 1,000 views, and 143 new subscribers. That's just 28 cents per new subscriber. I also have several shorts for a sports audience.
Hey, I'm here at the Colorado-Utah college football game. Take a look around. 50,000 people organized, came here today, spent a ton of money to watch college football, watch a ball bounce around. And I'm struck by the lack of organization around AI risk. If you tried to get 50,000 people to come and do something about AI risk, you couldn't do. Why is that? The thing that's happening here today is a ball is bouncing around. AI risk is a threat to every single person here's life. The makers of AI say their technology can literally kill everyone here, but no one here knows about it. No one here is organizing it. What's it going to take for humanity to care about the risks of artificial intelligence like we care about balls bouncing around stadiums? What's it going to take?
Now, these are in a campaign where it's costing 77 cents per new subscriber, only a 6% conversion rate, but 64 actual sports fans are now tuned in to AI Risk for just 49 bucks. These are real humans in the US, Canada, and Europe only, where these companies and decisions are being made, who are For Humanity subscribers now from the general public, from these silly YouTube shorts. This is a really big deal, I think. Each new subscriber activates a big new node of information spreading within their community. It's really working, and I'm having a lot of fun making them. It's kind of like a daily challenge, figure out what to do that day. So please help me. Share them. And if you're one of those people who came to this podcast right here from a YouTube short, I would love to hear from you. Send me an email at forhumanitypodcast@gmail.com. I'd love to hear the journey of how you got here and what you think of this new world of AI risk that you are absorbing. And if you just want to help me spread the word on AI risk to the general public, I'm not going to beat around the bush anymore. I think I've cracked the code just last week. We can find and target regular people with content that resonates. Honestly, I'm not sure there's any organization on the planet who has figured out this better than I just did right here in the past week. So go to the description, sign up for a monthly donation subscription, please. In the next 2 weeks, we might be able to double the audience of this podcast. Let's rack up 15,000 new subscribers, get to 30, double our current total. The next 2 weeks or the next month, we can do this now. Let's fucking go. You can do it for as little as $1 a month, a subscription of $1 a month. That would be funding the convincing of 2 to 4 new humans, at least per month, about AI risk. Real people. All right, and your comments on YouTube are huge as well. Please comment on these shorts and all the videos. They are what YouTube looks for in the algorithm that shows engagement and really helps us get new viewers coming to us. So please keep those comments coming always. Okay, one last little thing before I get to our interview with Tara Steele. So there is a big AI summit planned in Paris in February, and Tara will have some insight into this in the interview shortly. Sadly, the focus of this summit is not going to be safety. I had hoped myself to personally be going to Paris, and I still would love to go. I just don't think I can pull it off. My trip to San Francisco in November burned some budget, and really my time is very tight. So I'm doubtful I'm going to be able to go to Paris, but it's not out of the question, but certainly doubtful at this point. But I was honored last week when Pause AI asked me to voice this ad for Pause AI and their efforts around the summit. Take a look. The 2025 Global AI Summit in Paris has dropped all pretense of being about safety in favor of focusing on money, innovation, and advancing AI. This is insane. AI presents dozens of distinct and terrifying risks to our future. The time that world leaders address this is right now. Join our protest. Sign our petition. Join Pause AI now. Please sign that petition. So pretty cool. All right, so now at long last, on to our interview. So Tara Steele is a mother of 2 girls in England who, a lot like me, comes at AI risk without a technical background in computers or computer science. And while she is certainly gravely concerned about AI risk, as I am, she is also deeply concerned about the immediate impacts of AI risks on our children. She testified before British Parliament this month about children and AI, and she started an organization called the Safe AI for Children Alliance. She's going to Paris in early February for the summit there, for a different summit that she's going to tell us about, one that sounds very promising and important. So without any further ado, here is my interview with Tara Steele. Tara.
John. Hello, John. Good to see you again.
So great to see you again. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. How are you?
Doing fine, doing fine. It's the morning over here. It's the afternoon over there. Just
Yeah,
waking up to a new day.
first thing for you. You got your coffee ready?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So thank you so much for doing this. I've been wanting to do this for some time.
Yeah.
Just have you on and talk about what you're up to. So always like to start out with just sort of how you got into this thing. So I know you're a mom, I'm a dad, and we're not really computer people. We just sort of found ourselves in this thing. So maybe just tell me, how did you come to this?
Yeah, sure. Well, first of all, thank you for having me, John.
Of course.
As you know, I've really enjoyed your podcast for a long time now.
Thank you.
And I've been into AI safety for quite a while. I think I came across it first of all as part of my law degree. I was an intelligence officer originally. And while I was doing that, I was also doing a law degree and started studying some of the impact technology has in the law. And somehow I came across it as part of that, which then led me to reading a book called Superintelligence by Nick Bostrom. That was sort of what introduced me to the whole AI safety thing initially.
Sure. And what time is this? This is
I think this was like about 2016, something like that.
Okay. Yeah.
So a little while ago. And then I developed it a little bit from there, got very concerned about the sort of potential for catastrophic risks from AI, which became really clear when ChatGPT was released. I think that it was clear before then, but I think then the emotional impact started to hit because it was quite clear how quickly these things were escalating, potentially.
Yeah.
And then moving on from that, I've become more and more concerned about the nearer term implications on children's safety as well. And over time developed a greater appreciation of just how many risks there are for children and the lack of adequate safeguards in that.
Sure.
So that's what I'm working
Sure.
on. Yeah.
Really interesting. And I want to get into all of that stuff. Let's just start out at the highest level, though, just like sort of two parents, right, with kids. My kids are 19. They're in college years or younger. How do you just sort of mentally deal with doing this work and your thoughts about the future and your kids? And I know it's certainly a driver. For me, it's a driver, but it is also a weight. So just, talk to me about how it feels.
Yeah, so my girls are 5 and 10, so this is going to impact them tremendously. And in terms of the emotional aspect that you spoke about, because I've been into this for a long time, that was something I went through quite intensely some time ago. But there absolutely is an emotional aspect to that, both the catastrophic implications and also the general day-to-day risks and the impact on society. What's that going to look like going forward? Democracy, these kind of things. There are some really huge things to worry about in terms of their future. When you really sit down and start to think about it, I think it becomes really apparent that for most of society, we're not taking this seriously enough at all on any level. And the fact that we can't manage to do that with the risks that are here already today, already happening to children, who we should care about most of all, the fact that we can't even get that right doesn't speak well to how we're going to deal with some of these more wide-scale risks that you're very trying to promote awareness of going forward.
Yeah. And it's we'll get into this. It's interesting how the risks sort of layer on top of each other. And, like my top line, most deepest concern is existential risk, but there are all these other things under it that are real things that are going to affect real people and may have an effect on achieving a slowdown in AI in general that might affect existential risk too. So all the arrows sort of point in the same direction.
Absolutely. Yeah. All connected. Yeah. And there is like a sort of an interesting debate that I see going on, whereby there's a little bit of a tension between people who are trying to reduce the things like the risks to children or the near-term risks in terms of deep fakes, really serious things, and people who are focusing on the catastrophic risks. And to my mind, that tension just shouldn't be there. They're all really significant risks, and it's something of a continuum. And like I said before, if we can't deal with these risks, that doesn't speak well to how we deal with those more widespread risks.
Yeah, sometimes I think about like a blended campaign that would be like all the risks just thrown in together, and under the general banner of like, we're not ready.
Yeah.
We're just not ready. We're not ready for your kids with deepfakes. We're not ready for you to lose your job. We're not ready to be extinct. Like, we're not ready for any of it. We're not ready to build these data centers. They're going to take 4 times the amount of power that we have.
Yeah.
With the climate situation we have, we're not ready for any of it.
Absolutely. And I think I'm right in saying that you and I are on the same page in terms of we can absolutely see the benefits, the potential benefits.
Totally. Absolutely.
Absolutely not anti-AI.
Totally.
In many respects, like, it's just really cool to use and it could do amazing things. But exactly what you've just said, we're not ready to handle the more general systems that are really powerful.
Yeah. And we're just so short-sighted. It's like if we could slow down 30, 50, 100 years, maybe, and just do it right for all time, or just race really fast and run a really big risk of ending it all. It seems just insane. All right. So let's talk about all the really cool stuff you've been up to. You are, something I think that's really cool about AI risk and AI safety field is it's people like you, people like me, just people all over the world that are raising their hand and being like, no, like, what are we doing? What are we doing? Like, no. So you've been doing this in many different ways. Let's start out with the testimony you just did either this week or last week. You went and you went and spoke before some sort of group. Tell me what you did and how it went and all about it.
Yeah. So that was just like, I guess it was just 3 days ago now. It was the beginning of the week. It was in Parliament in the UK, obviously. And it was an event that was put together by the Parliamentary Office for Science and Technology and an organisation called Sense About Science. And the whole concept was to hold MPs and policymakers accountable for policies being based on evidence. So evidence-based decisions. So it was about all sorts of different subjects, not just AI. But my question was to the chair of the Science and Technology Special Committee, Select Committee rather, about the risks from AI, whether they're being properly considered. And then there was a particular paper that I raised and asked whether that had been taken into account in creating policy. So it was a good opportunity to make sure that these issues have been raised at the highest levels, which they absolutely should be. So yeah, that was a really good opportunity to get to do that.
And how did you feel? How did you feel it was received? I did a thing a month or so ago where I went to Capitol Hill in DC and talked to some lawmaker staffs about stuff, and it was really eye-opening. Like, it was, I would say, we talked to all of them about all the different levels of risk, and 3/4 of them were like, AGI what? Like, what is, we'd be like, what are you doing about AI? And they're like, oh, we're on top of it. We've got deep fakes and this and this. And then we'd be like, okay, great. And what about AGI? And 3/4 of them are like, well, tell me about that. What is that?
Yeah. Yeah. I think you're right. And I think there's still a perception among policymakers and perhaps most people that the type of AGI and beyond type of risks are very much science fiction and not something to be taken too seriously, which absolutely isn't the case. So yeah, I do get that feeling, which was why I raised the specific paper that I asked to be taken into account. And that was, it's called Managing Extreme AI Risk Amid Rapid Progress. And it's by like a host of really well-renowned AI experts like Yoshua Bengio, Jeffrey Hinton, Stuart Russell. And it really sets out why there's a catastrophic risk from advanced AI, and it ties it into the near-term risks. So while it doesn't specifically mention children, it does help to make it clear that the sort of risks that we have to children now are linked in several different ways, the mechanisms, the policies that we need to safeguard them to the kind of risks that you tend to focus on.
Yeah. So let's talk about this. So just going backwards just a little bit, but this is a fascinating thing that I always want to talk about is how do the people in your life feel about the work you're doing, about these issues you're wrestling with? And, do you try to talk to people about it? Do you try to convince friends and family? How does it go? Do they all think you're crazy? You get anybody on board?
Well, in terms of, so not within a professional capacity, just my day-to-day life, even talking about the risks to children absolutely isn't recognised to the degree that it needs to be. And when I try and communicate how serious some of these risks are, which we can go into, I do very much get the feeling that there's just the significance of the risks isn't appreciated. And one of the most important things we need to do is raise awareness of that. And then to an even greater extent, that's the case with the catastrophic risks. It's just not taken seriously. And I worry that within the sort of AI community that you and I are part of, there's sometimes a misconception that everyone knows about this stuff. And that absolutely isn't the case. And it's a difficult subject to communicate briefly. You really need to sit down for an hour and think about it to then be able to see, that's a very clear risk.
Yeah. Yeah. And you said something earlier that, I think is really important. You talked about how you sort of came to terms with it, several years ago. And I sort of went through the same process, more recently, and I still wrestle with it a little bit, but it's sort of like just, looking over the cliff and being like, okay, we could all not be here. This could really happen. Like in my lifetime, like we really could be the last humans to that's about the biggest pill to swallow anyone could ever try.
It's a massive concept to deal with. And, as I said, I certainly emotionally did go through a period of struggling with that. And then I think I got to the point of realizing I have to do something about that on several different levels. So I guess the best I can come up with is to try not to think too much about it on an emotional level. You have to maintain that balance of understanding that it's real, so not just beginning to deny it. But I think it's really important for all of us that we try and do something about it. It's the most important thing, and you can't really do that if you're upset about it all the time. So although I'm very, very aware of it, I really just try not to think about the massive implications for my children and all the children. I don't know. How about you? How do you deal with it on a day-to-day basis now?
It some days are easy and some days are harder. I feel like, there are some days where I do struggle a little bit, and I just sort of think about my kids and just they're freshmen in college, and I really don't know what the hell the world's going to look like when they graduate 4 years from now. Like, I don't know the jobs that'll be there. I don't know the social structure. we don't even know if like money will be a thing. Like, it's all so uncertain. It is, even like that's like the good case scenario. If everything goes great and we get, we cure cancer, we end disease, we solve hunger, we don't have to go to work, we, this, all the stuff they're promising, even that seems incredibly challenging to the human soul.
Massively disruptive. Yeah. What do you even do with that? And I've grown up since being an adult with the idea that my children would, everything would look much the same for them as it has done for me. I was sort of thinking maybe they won't need to learn to drive a car because there'll be self-driving cars, but I was still had this thing in my head. They'd go to university, get a job, have their own kids, and like you say, it's so uncertain now. And I think once again, there's so little appreciation of just how uncertain it is and how much things could change. Yeah.
I wish more of the people at these companies were parents. I really, I feel like this is a huge part of it. Like, as a parent, like you are just sacrificing all day long, every day. Like if you don't have kids, you kind of do what you want. Like, I remember like you wake up, you're like, it's Saturday. What should we do? Let's go get coffee. Let's whatever, like when you have kids, it is nonstop fire hose of activity requests for literally for years, unbroken. You're just giving of yourself, paying it forward, giving of yourself for this future hope that this little seed that I'm going to turn into this beautiful plant, is going to bear fruit for the world. And just the idea that all the work and none of the fruit is just so painful.
Yeah, painful is a good word for it, I think. And yeah, it's an interesting. Sorry, go on.
No, please.
I was going to say, slightly going back to what you said in terms of coping with it. So I talked about how I deal with it now, but once you've been through the process and understood what the risks really are, I have found that it's changed my mindset. It's just changed how I look at the world, even though I try not to think about it very much. On a more positive note, it makes me appreciate things more.
Totally.
And realize that have a more real appreciation of the things that matter.
Yeah. I'm so curious about what it is about people that make some people activate like you and I have, and most people just push it off and get it away. Where do you fall as a person on the sort of optimism, pessimism scale? Are you, where are you just sort of naturally?
So there would be two kind of aspects to that. Sorry, do you mean as a generally optimistic person?
Yeah, you would personally. Yeah, like people who know you would be like, "Oh, Tara, she's such an optimist. She's such a pessimist."
Yeah.
Whatever. Where do you fall?
In life in general, super optimistic.
Me too.
Happy, kind of. Seeing the good stuff. And actually, I've found this to be a bit of a thing within these kind of discussions. There's this label of doomers, which implies people who are understanding these risks are all doom and gloom. And I've found the exact opposite to be a bit of a strange phenomenon. I speak to people like myself, very bright, happy people. And yet on this topic, we're saying like, no, this could be terrible.
It's like they've co-opted the term optimism, and like in the world of these tech people, optimism is like being in a car heading off a cliff and smashing the gas pedal and being like, well, let's see what happens. Like that, I guess, is optimism. Whereas like, I think our optimism is like, no, maybe there is hope. Maybe we can save ourselves. Maybe we can slow it down. Like maybe we can do the obviously prudent thing.
Yeah.
That's optimism. Not and the doomer label just makes me crazy. It would be like calling firemen fire is to call like, us doomers. Like, no, you're bringing the doom, guys. Like, not us. We're concerned about what you're doing.
Absolutely. It's just silly. And it's like, well, to me, my perception, it's just kind of silly name calling, and I think maybe let's be adults about it. And in terms of the optimism, absolutely, the optimism for me is seeing that there are mechanisms that we could put in place to protect children from the risks they're facing now, and there should be mechanisms that we can realistically put in place to slow down the frontier systems while we are so obviously not ready for them. Like you say, those are ways of being optimistic, saying like, let's try and let's make things better.
Yeah. Let's talk about the gender dynamics of AI risk, AI safety world, because this is just awful. Like, honestly, like if you look at the 50 plus episodes of this show, the male female ratio is terrible.
Yeah.
If you look at the YouTube audience for Humanity, it is like 94% male.
Why do you think that is?
I mean, part of it is, typical, like, I guess men are more into technology stuff, just sort of stereotypically, but it's got to be something. We've got to find a way to flip it. We've got to want, because if Mama Bear knows that the cubs are under threat, that is not a place anybody wants to be. But the mama bears are not aware of what's going on. Mama bears are just mamaing, and like we need to get through to the women of the world. So I don't know. What do you think?
100%. This is everyone's concern. I mean, obviously, and I would hope that I think the messages are gaining momentum. I hope. I feel that the near-term risks will be accepted more quickly, just because we can see them already.
Yeah.
There are already there's an absolutely tragic case in the US. There's a lawsuit ongoing.
Yes.
14-year-old boy committed suicide, and that was largely as a result of his interactions with a harmful chatbot. So we can see those very obvious risks are already here and already having tragic outcomes. And I think it's then just a continuum to start to you understand that risk is there, and you can see how the risk escalates from there right up to the most catastrophic risks. And I think even if one isn't able to take the time perhaps to follow the logical progression as to why AI systems could become out of control, it's very obvious that there's still a catastrophic risks from things like integration into weapons, misuse through biological weapons, all sorts of things that also present a catastrophic risk, as well as the loss of control aspect. And I think awareness is becoming greater of that. But like you say, there's still a massive gender disparity in that. I don't really.
Yeah. Any thoughts on how we can attack this issue? Like, this has to be the year that the people who aren't caring about this start to care about this. And so like I honestly don't care about AI safety people. Sorry, I like the AI safety Twitter, the whole thing. Like I really don't care. I really would much rather deal with like a plumber, a soccer mom, just somebody who is living their life and could be like, oh my God, I need to get involved in this, like you and I'd have.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't know what the answer is for that. I mean, maybe the current political climate may help a little bit in terms of making people more aware, because I think a lot of people are getting quite angry about seeing tech leaders lined up, ready to run the world, and how undemocratic that is, and people can clearly see there are risks with that. So maybe that's going to help to generate more awareness of the more specific risks. I don't know.
Yeah. All right. So let's get into the work you're doing on behalf of children, because I think it's super important work, and like we're talking about all the arrows pointing in the right direction. Like this is the kind of thing. Like it is very possible that to wake the moms of the world up, existential risk isn't the ticket, and what you're doing is, and both would slow down the machine, which is the same goal we're trying to achieve. So tell me about the work you're doing on behalf of children.
Yeah. So the organization that I'm directing is called the Safe AI for Children Alliance, and we're broadly addressing lots of different risks to children. I can talk about the more longer term ones in a moment, but a couple of the ones we're focusing on right now are the risks of harm from chatbots, like I've just spoken about, things like character AI, not just the case I spoke about. There are also a couple of other legal cases whereby chatbots encourage the child to murder their parents because of screen time limits. And then another one implicitly encouraging self-harm. There are basically no safeguards on them, and parents, by and large, aren't aware of how easily accessible they are and how dangerous they are. And then another area that we're looking at, which is related, is grief bots. I don't know if this is something you've come across.
I don't know about it. No. Grief
So it's
bots.
kind of an emerging threat, so much so that the terminology hasn't quite been decided on. So I'm using the term grief bots, but they're also called death bots, ghost bots, and they're basically simulations, digital simulations of people who've passed away, loved ones. So there's a documentary called Eternal You, which I'd recommend watching. You can get it on YouTube.
Yeah.
And it shows interactions between people who've lost loved ones and these digital replicas of them.
How do we feel about this? I'm kind of my initial reaction is kind of like, that sounds pretty cool. Like, but tell me, what am I not seeing?
So I think, and conceptually, there could potentially be good uses for it in terms of going through a grieving process. But I think if you watch this documentary to see what they're actually like, you probably feel differently.
Okay.
So there's
Okay.
one there where it goes along a continuum of disturbing scenes. One is where a lady is interacting just through messages with her, the digital simulation of her fiance who's passed away. And it's all okay initially, and then the chatbot starts saying, "I'm in hell now. It's awful here." That's one aspect of it. But then the most heartbreaking one for me is that there's a mother whose young daughter's passed away. This is in Japan. And that's not just in writing or speech. They actually created a physical avatar. And there's a scene in there where she reaches out to hold her daughter, who speaks like her daughter, looks like her daughter. And it's just heartbreaking. Just intuitively, when you watch that, you just know it's wrong. But my concern, or our concern, would be most specifically how this works with children whose parents or other loved ones have passed away. And you can see how that's going to massively disrupt their grieving process. And then there are also secondary issues, like if they make a bond with the digital simulation and then that gets taken away. It just hasn't been thought through at all. There haven't been psychologists involved in the formation of these things. It's just another example of development and deployment without any thoughtfulness behind it, really.
And because the idea is, because the system's grown, it's just sort of, spitting out this stuff that it can spit out anything, and very harmful stuff. There's no like you said, guardrails, no way to check it to make sure that it's not going to say things that are really going to hurt people. Yeah,
and a very profit-driven model. So
is that going to be a big industry? Legacy bots or whatever they are?
I think it could be.
Yeah,
potentially. And it's one thing when it's adults choosing
right
in an informed way. But when children become involved, it's a different dimension to it, I think.
Yeah, I was going to say, my father passed away like 3 years ago, and before any of this AI stuff, and he was just a really brilliant man, super smart about all kinds of stuff like this. And I think all the time, what would he say? What would he think? How would he think about these ideas? And so I like the idea that I could like go into his computer, find 20 papers that he wrote, drop them into a training model, and be like, hey, what would my dad think about this and that and this?
Yeah. Yeah, I get that. But
But I
then
can also see exactly what you're saying. Like, 10-year-old me with that thing, and my father just died, and I'm doing like, that's nightmare
that's
things happening.
a different scenario.
Yeah.
And then also we're looking at things like deep fakes, just children's ability to look at these things critically. And then on a sort of a wider scale going forward, there's the thought about who's going to keep AI safe in the future, assuming that we manage to get to a point in, say, 10 years' time, where we still have similar issues. There need to be capable humans there to make the policies, develop the systems. And there are some issues around, so for example, you talked about the job disruption. If jobs in computer sciences aren't really there, why are children going to be incentivized to study those things? Then you have a massive sort of dilution of that talent pool. I think that's an issue that's not appreciated enough at the moment.
Right, because then it really is the models just working on the models.
Mm-hmm.
If we don't have next generations of humans, I mean, you said something about 10 years. When you say 10 years, does a little bell go off in your head that's like, if, like, yeah.
Unfortunately, yes. Yeah. And
It's such a strange existence, isn't it? Just so strange to hear those things. Like I'll see something about retirement planning or something, and I'm like, okay, sounds awesome.
Let's hope.
Let's hope. Yeah.
Yeah. And I think in terms of thinking that way, it's really important that people look to the experts. So it can sound like alarmist, or it can be misrepresented as the doomer dialogue or whatever.
Right.
We have like Nobel Prize winners, Turing Award winners, the most prominent AI researchers, the CEOs of the companies, literally saying this. And why aren't people listening? I don't know.
That's what I always go back to. It's like the CEOs of the companies are saying it themselves. There's no secrets here. It's like standing too close to the sun or something. It's like you can't look at it. They're like, what do you mean the CEOs are saying they're doing something that could kill us all? I can't look at that. I'll just look this way because that way is too, it's going to melt my brain.
Yeah. And I've seen more recently that being dismissed as them drumming up hype around their own systems. But you can just look back several years ago, they were already saying it. Like Sam Altman has said a lot about it historically, how there's a massive existential risk. And then more recently, even when he's been CEO, saying it could be lights out for humanity.
Oh, yeah.
Same with Dario Amodei, is it CEO?
Oh, yeah.
He's put his 20% or something on risk of human extinction. It's crazy.
Yeah, 10 to 25 is Dario's, and he goes back to work today and keeps working on the project.
It's just very odd.
It is. And it's so, like, that's why people don't believe it. They're like, who would go to work in a suicide box? Nobody would do that. He's not doing that. Stop it, John, Tara, you guys, it'll be fine.
Yeah. I mean, I suppose to some degree I can sympathise to some degree with potentially thinking this is going to happen anyway, so I'll make sure to do it well. Like Ilya Sutskeberg and his superintelligence initiative. And we can look back and see that historically he's been very responsible in that kind of outlook. So I guess I can sympathise with then that mindset of saying, look, I'm going to have to do this to make sure it goes right. But obviously that dynamic is a problem.
I wish one of those people that was like, it has to be me, Sam, Ilya, whoever, Dario, would be like, it has to be me. And the way I'm going to do it right is by slowing down.
Yeah.
Like the pace is the issue.
Yeah.
That's the only issue.
Yeah.
It's the
absolutely.
only,
Yeah.
like they make it seem like it's stop or go. That's not the debate. The debate is how fast are we going?
Yeah. And we're going very, very fast.
And we're going very, very, very fast.
Yeah.
Endlessly faster, endlessly faster. Okay, so now let's talk about Paris. So that is exciting. There was the Bletchley Park Summit, which was the first AI safety summit. Then there was the second one in South Korea that followed it, and now there is the third one that is in Paris on the 10th and 11th of February. But that is not the Paris thing you're going to. It's earlier on the 6th and 7th, I think. And so I didn't even know about the 6th and 7th thing. I have been trying really hard to get there. I'm not saying 100% that I can't get there, but I'm doubtful at this point to make it to Paris. I went to San Francisco earlier, November, and kind of blew some time and budget stuff. But I would love to be there, but you're going to be there, and that's really exciting. So tell me about what you're going to do, what the event you're going to is, and maybe also how it relates to the thing that's happening a few days later.
Yeah. So the event I'm going to is the International Association for Safe and Ethical AI. The sort of acronym is ICI. And it's an initiative that's been largely led by Stuart Russell, who's, well, I know you're aware of who he is, the co-author of the main AI further education textbook, and then he's had a big influence in trying to promote awareness of the risks from AI. So it's quite a big organisation that is now forming, and part of the idea of the conference is to share knowledge and approaches and to build this community that wants to make AI safe, basically.
It sounds awesome, and so it's Stuart Russell, BENGIO, a lot of the heavy hitters will be there.
Yeah, there's some really amazing speakers, and yeah, I can't wait to see them, learn from them, and just help to make the community stronger.
Yeah,
and it's great that sorry, go on.
No, please.
It's so good that they are appreciating that organisations who are focusing on children need to be involved, because children have been largely left out of this debate, I think. They've not been given a voice, and they are ultimately going to be the most affected by any of these risks. It's their futures that we're playing with, so it's great.
Absolutely,
to take them seriously.
And I think that it's great to hear that community, because I feel like a huge problem with what we're trying to do, which is wake up regular people to AI risk, is the fact that the origins of AI risk come from a community that has some very particular, specific thoughts about the way arguments must be made, the way you talk about things, the tools you use.
Yeah.
And there's that sort of purist, rationalist thought that, like, if you want to stop existential risk, you can't talk about kids. You have to talk about like the pure technical case for X risk. But no, it's like we're in an airplane flying with no landing gear, approaching the airport. We got to take anything out of any suitcase we can and see if we can make some wheels here.
Yeah. I mean, I understand what you mean, and there are some like fantastic people in that kind of movement area, wonderful people with the absolute best intentions, but sometimes I'm looking at those communities and I just kind of think, okay, but meanwhile, back in the real world, maybe we should talk about it as well. And it's very it can be, even for someone who's quite mindful of all these issues, quite an alienating community. So yeah, we need to make the community wider and more inclusive. Absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah. It needs to jump out of the community where it started. And a huge problem is that community is like latched on. They built walls and fortress around it, like to try to make that not happen. Because if a regular person is having a partial argument, that's like that's not pure enough. That's not good enough.
That's really counterproductive. And I see it quite a lot, and it's just unhelpful to everyone.
Yeah.
And I'm sure no individual has any kind of negative intent around that, I assume. But that is what's happening sometimes. And it's just very, very unhelpful. We need to just be more down to earth about this. It's not complicated. The issues are very clear, very logical. We just need to be normal, talk about it,
Yeah. So the official, or I guess the other AI thing that's happening is the conference on the 10th and 11th, which I have been concerned was becoming the Lacuna Palooza, Jan LeCun Fest, where they're just going to go and roast AI safety and risk and tell everybody everything's fine. And I kind of feel like maybe that is what's going to happen at that other conference, because, like what you're going to on the 6th and 7th should be like half or most of the main conference, but it's become like very small part of it. What do you know about the 10th and 11th thing?
I mean, I have the same concern that's the case. That I don't know, one part of me feels like there's growing awareness of the safety aspects, but then the other part, initially, like in Bletchley, it was, I think I'm correct in saying, the AI Safety Summit, whereas now it's moved to the AI Action Summit, I think. And certainly, regardless of the names, there's much less emphasis on safety and much more emphasis on the benefits. And like we already said, the benefits could be huge, but we're just not going to get those benefits without the safety. And I do feel that that's where the emphasis is lying at the moment, unfortunately.
Yeah. We're right here at the start of a year. This is a hugely important year, 2025, in this effort. As you look out at the year, what do you hope for? What do you sort of see in the calendar coming at us?
I don't know. It's really unpredictable. I do feel, despite what I've said about the people in my own life not being particularly aware or seeming particularly interested, I do feel like there's a growing momentum, and things like this conference in Paris can only help with that. So, like we said, I'm an optimistic person. I feel like we have to try, and again, that's with both the near-term risks, specifically to children, and these wider scale risks. We just have to keep trying, and I hope that it will lead to some positive developments.
Yeah.
How do you manage?
I honestly, this is a little wild, America, that nothing really happened, or a really seminal event was in Birmingham, Alabama, when a bunch of school kids got arrested. Thousands of school kids, thousands and thousands and thousands of school kids left school to go protest and get arrested. And there were photographs of like 10 and 12-year-old kids behind bars. And those photos arrested the nation. And everyone was like, is this who we are? Is this
something?
Yeah, it shifted something. It moved that Overton window. You see an image, your brain changes, your perspective changes. And I think about kids, because I think kids are the thing that creates the greatest emotional reaction in people. And so it's like, how could we use kids to help wake up the world to this thing? But it's also like, I have a really hard time talking to kids about this stuff, and even saying to my almost 20-year-old kids, like, you know, these are my concerns. This is the world we're looking at. It's really, really hard to do that. I don't know that anybody's doing any kid a service to put this in their head. Like it's very difficult for an adult to deal with. I don't think that a kid is really equipped to deal with the swallowing that boat-sized pill of, are we the last humans? Like, that's just not something any kid should be made to do. But it's also like, shit, how can we wake everybody up? And you know, is there a way?
I struggle with the same thing. And I don't know what the answer is. But even working with the risks to children all the time, even those risks are difficult to talk to children about because there's such sensitive, terrible issues involved in some of those things. But then when it comes to literal extinction, it's like, how do you even... But then on the other hand, we do talk about climate change and how the massive impacts it could have. We do talk to children about that. And I think as this becomes more recognized and more normalized, we will have to find ways to do that with children, but it's very difficult.
Yeah, it's so interesting. Like, you know, kids' movies deal with really big themes and death and you know, from Bambi to Lion King to all these things. We sort of, you know, like the in Lion King, that's when Mufasa dies in Lion King, that and the you know, the stampede, like that is a really heavy thing for a kid. For when you're a parent seeing it, I don't know, when you're a parent seeing it for the first time, you're like, wow, my kid just we're emotionally invested in this story, and the dad just died, and the you know.
Yeah, I don't know what it is with Disney films. All the parents watch, like any opening to a Disney film, the parents are dead. It's just,
yeah.
So yeah, they can.
And we think it like works, right? It works.
Yeah. So maybe we don't give children enough credit for what they can take. I don't know.
Yeah, in my brain, there's some way that like because you know, it's so few people doing this actual work. To me, it's like there's 8 billion people that are unaware of it, but there's 2,000 people that are super aware of it and really working on it. I don't know that it might be more achievable to work on the 2,000 people than the 8 billion.
Yeah, I don't know.
You know, like it's a smaller target. So in my hopeful brain, there's a world where like a 12-year-old kid comes home to his dad who works at OpenAI, and his dad's like, yeah, we're at dinner, we're working on this. And the kid's like, well, Dad, what about alignment? And what about interpretability?
Yeah.
And the dad's like, well, and I can't, son, you're right. I quit.
There's no good answer for that. And yet they're very simple concepts, and children could potentially, most certainly, understand why alignment is an issue, and why the system should be transparent and those kind of things. It's not complicated. You don't need to understand the technology as such. So yeah,
it's like, what are these people like? So my kids, I've asked my kids and I've asked their friends, if you could kill social media, keep or kill social media as a whole, and they're all in Snapchat and all this, you know, they've got apps, I don't even know what the hell they are. They and all their friends instantly, without any qualms, say, yes, kill it.
Yeah.
Kill it.
Yeah.
It's bad. We can't get off. Can't get off the bike.
Say that and then go straight back on it. Yeah.
Yeah. And so like literally the people that brought us social media, this is their new creation. The next thing nobody wants. Like,
yeah. And what you said about warning shots, I mean, really social media should be that warning shot. Like it's not a big impactful one-off event, but we can very clearly see the damage it's done. And that's like very primitive AI behind that, behind the
totally.
And yet the damage that's been done in Sylvester by social media.
Yeah. And it's the original alignment problem, right? It's like, you know, we thought liking pictures would be great and we'd see more pictures of my grandmother. But no, it turns out the algorithm has other ideas.
Yeah. so many issues that weren't foreseen, should have been foreseen, but fair enough, they weren't. But let's learn from that. Don't do it again with much more powerful systems.
You would think. You would
Yeah.
think. So what's next on the children's work stuff? Is there anything you're sort of like big things you're pushing towards or for?
So our strategy for the next year is mainly to do with trying to raise awareness among parents and educators. And most specifically, we're focusing on the harms from chatbots. We also want to raise awareness of the grief bots because it's an emerging threat. And although it isn't going to affect as many children, it could be really damaging. And I think it helps to open up people's minds to things they haven't thought of yet, ways in which AI can be harmful, just to help us understand, look, this is coming, this can be huge. You probably haven't thought of this way that it could be used. So those are the two areas we're going to be focusing on a lot. But then we'll also be talking about the impact of deep fakes. And actually, I went on a live demo thing last week by an organization called Civ AI, CIV AI.
Okay.
Have you heard of them?
No,
Yeah, if you go on their website, they have a tool on there where you can take a photo of yourself and straight away you can generate a deep fake image with it. And it's really quite impactful. So sharing things like that with kids, they can't do it themselves. It'll only work for adults' faces. But just sharing those kind of tools to show how quickly images can be manufactured and how realistic they can be. Obviously, with children, there's some really horrific things that can be done in that respect, which need to be tackled at the highest levels. But what we need to do, our organisation, is just show how easily these images of deepfakes can be created. And then obviously that has massive implications for society.
Yeah. One more thing I wanted to talk to you about, and this is an interesting thing that I think is going to be slightly controversial, but I think it's a real thing that the safety world needs to talk about. So I had a phone call or a Zoom with Ed Harris of Gladstone AI, who's working with the U.S. government on different things about AI risk and helping them understand it. They wrote this Gladstone report for the State Department about, they've done all this whistleblower work and interviewed different people at the companies.
Was it
and
two people?
To the two brothers, the two brothers, Jeremy and Edward, and so what Ed was saying was that with the Trump administration, because it's not about what could we do if we wanted to, it's what can we practically do with the people who are here. So they are, working with the Trump administration on things that could actually be done. And it seems like in this new era, international coordination, cooperation is going to be a really, really tough sell.
Yeah.
That trusting the Chinese on any sort of verification of any sort of agreement is a non-starter with anyone in Trump admin world. And that if AI safety people come in, beating that drum, it's going to really erode our credibility because they just see it as something that is ridiculous. That basically that they would cheat, and that even they point to like a treaty we had with Russia in the 90s about intermediate range ballistic missiles, and they violated the treaty for like 15 years. We were like, hey guys, you're violating the treaty, stop violating the treaty. And they're like, yeah, okay, whatever. And 15 years later, they have all these intermediate range ballistic missiles made. We didn't, we had a treaty. They said whatever. So it's like, what are we really even doing with international coordination and cooperation? So I just, love your thoughts on that.
Yeah, I don't know. Certainly no one should say that's not an issue. It's a huge issue, and to raise it is very valid. The national security in a wider sense is also a huge issue, but the China aspect particularly. I don't know. I know that the solution is not to race ahead and wipe out everyone.
Totally.
That's not a particularly logical way to go about it. And one would hope that there would be an understanding of that across the world. But I don't know. I don't know what the solution. It's a very real problem. I don't know. What do you think?
I think, I mean, I think they're probably right. If we're asking for 3 or 4 things and one of them is really hard to achieve, we should maybe only ask for 2 or 3 and let that one sort of fall away a little bit until we get the other couple ones achieved. So like I would do hard compute cap on US companies, a regulation for a hard compute cap on US companies. I would do chip hardware verification and tracking. You know, all the chip makers have to make a little piece of hardware on the device that says, here's where I am. So we know if they're clustering and somebody's building a data center that's unauthorized. The third part of it is international coordination and agreement. So that if someone builds a data center that's unauthorized, we blow it up. But, you know, maybe you work on the first 2 pieces, like hard compute cap for US companies could buy us a year, 2, 3.
Yeah. I mean, there has been some a lot of work and progress with cooperation with China specifically. Like we already mentioned Stuart Russell. I'm pretty sure he's done some work over there in trying to build cooperation and relationships. But I don't know what the answer to that is. But they seem like good approaches.
Yeah, I imagine it's probably like it is over here. There are some scientists who are like, this is really bad. We're all going to die. And then there's a bunch of money guys and military guys and other people that have other things on their agenda that they think will be more important than this. And the money and the military beats out the scientists, just like it is here currently.
Absolutely. Yeah, there's just going to be a ton of parallels the way it's working on both sides. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So Tara, you are going to go to Paris soon. That's super fun.
Yep.
You're closer than that. You probably that's not as exciting as it would be for me. But I think Paris is an awesome city.
Well, you have to let me know if you do end up going.
Yes, for sure. And if I don't, I would love to have you back on the program. Maybe just do like a little 10, 15 minute update and talk about what you saw there, what you heard there. Just give us a little report back from, what that was like.
Yeah.
Awesome. All right. So let's end it with something that gives you hope, Tara, as we head into 2025 here. What do you find brings you hope these days?
Oh, you're asking me. I'll tell you one thing that gives me hope aside from, my family, my girls, they're the thing. But aside from the obvious, the extent to which there has been a massive support for the organization that I'm running, the Safe AI Alliance for Children. There's just been so much support, so many people coming forward saying, how can I help? What can I do? And that gives me a lot of hope for, just people are good. People want to do the right thing. People want to help. And what I want to do is just raise awareness of those risks. And I think more and more people will come on board. People want to do the right thing. It's just really encouraging. So that gives me hope.
I love it. I think that's really, you may be onto something with using sort of children as a way to highlight people's anxiety and just innate sense that this isn't a great thing. Everybody feels this thing is foreign and bad, but if you can hook it up to vulnerable children, bad thing, vulnerable children, that really channels the human energy in a good way, I feel like.
Yeah, and doing it in a completely authentic way. Like, who doesn't want to help children? We have a responsibility to protect them. These risks are here and now for them, and they are on the horizon for all of us. So let's tackle all of them. Let's just all try and do something, and maybe we can make a difference.
Absolutely. Awesome. Tara, I'm so glad that you're doing what you do. So glad to know you. And, I'm excited for what's going to happen in Paris. So let's just stay in touch and let me know how that goes, and we'll go from there.
Will do. Thank you so much, John. It's been great to be on with you and see you again. And talk again soon.
All right. How about Tara Steele? She's fantastic, huh? I will definitely have her back on the show to talk about what she saw and heard at the Paris Summit very soon. Okay, friends. Timelines are getting shorter. They feel short, and they feel like they're getting shorter. As you know, in these strange times, we do not know how long we have to live. So we live every day like it could be our last, and end every show with something we call a celebration of life, just something that makes us thrilled to be alive. This week is an absolutely incredible clip. This is amazing. I've watched this thing many times. So we're going to travel back to 1974, the year before I was born, to a young and absolutely incredible Al Green on stage. This concert just looks otherworldly. Take a look, and on the other side, I will have a story to tell you about the time I saw Al Green backstage in Baltimore. It's a good story, but first, this wonderful clip, 2 songs coming at you.
Aboard the Midnight Special. I want you to groove with me this evening. And don't break nothing. Wait a minute. After we get through filming this particular special, I want to go out and get to know you. Right after. Because ladies and gentlemen, the only thing that I can really, in a giant aspect, admit to this evening, out of all of the years and the times that we've had together, babe, Lord of mercy. Let me just say that I'm so tired of being alone. I'm so tired of going my own. Won't you help me, girl? Just to thank you soon as you can. People say that I found a way to make you say that you love. You can sing along with me. It's all right. Come on. Hey, baby, it didn't go for that, no. It's a natural fact, hey, that I want to come back. Won't you show me where it's... Hey, I'm so tired of being alone, tired of on my own. Help me, baby, just as soon as you can, as soon as you can. Tell you like it is, won't you love me if you will? All I can say is, hey baby, oh my, make me feel what it's feeling. So tired, so tired. I have to just raise my hand. Oh, baby, I want to clap your hand with me. Hey, oh, want to clap your hand with me. Hey, hey, want to, hey, want to love me, baby. Want to clap your hand with me. Everybody, come on. Hey, want to clap your hand with me. Hey, want to clap your hand with me. Maybe you would help me if I feel like it. I can just say that I'm so tired. Hey, but you don't know what I'm talking about. Sometimes late at night I get to wondering. I call your name, sweet baby. Every now and then I call your name. It makes me feel like dancing. Yeah. inside, a love that I cannot hide. Oh, and I know it's you and me, baby. Yeah, let's make the world go round. Yeah, it's keeping you, loving you, me, laying all of my trouble down. Yeah, I am, baby. Come and take me, won't you? I am, baby. Come and take me by the hand. I'll squeeze it. Hey, yeah, I am, baby. Let me say, oh, it always ends up this way. Baby, talk to you. Take me by the hand.
just can't. Unbelievable. Unbelievable to me. So, all right, here's my Al Green story. So, I was working for a TV station here in Baltimore that sponsored a music festival, and it was in probably, man, it had to be, I don't know, 2005, 6, 7, something like that. The music festival was Artscape. And so the TV station I worked for got some of the people who worked at the TV station tickets to be on the tower that were on the side of the stage. So it's like the stage and 2 towers, you know, maybe like a story and a half tall. So you're like 1 story up, just looking right down on the bands. And then you can see the backstage area behind it. It's an outdoor festival out like on a lawn in Baltimore. So the acts that I saw on the stage were Wyclef Jean, unbelievable. Tribe Called Quest, unbelievable. And so Tribe is literally playing, finishing out their set, and Al Green is the headliner going to go after Tribe Called Quest. Tribe is playing on the stage. It's like right here. I can see it like right down here. And like 20 minutes before the end of the set, just behind the stage comes Al Green, probably 70 years old, 65 years old, in an all-white jumpsuit, like an Elvis-y, shiny, like kind of like in that video, like lying down here suit. And for the last 20 minutes of the set, as Tribe is finishing out their set, he is doing Tai Chi quietly by himself back behind the stage. And I sat there for 20 minutes. I watched Tribe Called Quest play and Al Green do Tai Chi like 25 feet away from me, just right down there, all happening at the same time. Life's pretty cool sometimes. All right, my friends. So that's my Al Green story. Please remember, AI risk is not someone else's problem. It is yours and it is mine. And in 2025, we must help every human on Earth understand what is the gravest threat to their lives and their families' lives. This is the year humanity wakes up to AI risk. We will not allow 2,000 people to wipe the rest of the 8 billion of us off this beautiful earth. No fucking way. For humanity, I'm John Sherman. Thanks for watching. I'll see you tomorrow on YouTube Shorts.